Niki McCuistion has a unique ability to really connect with her audience. Whether it is a senior executive team of 10 at a retreat or a keynote at a sales rally of 1,000 plus, her warmth and humor combine to produce a creative learning environment. She gives her audience innovative and results-oriented ideas, skills, and knowledge they can use on the job the very next day.
8 feet in front of me was a trapeze swing. And once I accomplished the objective of standing on my own 2 feet, my task then, my vision then, was to leap for the trapeze. And catch it. And finally let go and fall gently. Remember, I had a harness to the ground. Picture this, crouched for 10 minutes in a fetal position, saying, I don't want to do this. And finally, from the ground way below, I heard this little voice. And this little voice said, you can do it. I'm right there with you. Let go. I stood on top of the pole. And that little voice said, look beyond. And I did. And I took that leap. I missed the trapeze. Maybe the most important things that as leaders, as enablers, and as partners we need to learn is that we cannot do it alone. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. You know, I wish I knew then what I know now, but to know and not to do is not to know at all. For some of us, leading is what we do. And for some of us, following is what we do. But if we can't lead and we can't follow, then maybe we should get out of the way.
Niki has earned the Certified Speaking Professional designation from the National Speakers Association, a designation held by fewer than 10% of the association's 3,500 plus members. Is Niki the speaker for your next meeting? Let's listen.
Elsbeth said, we're sitting down this afternoon and we're going to write goals. I said, I can't do that. Why not? I've never done that. Why not? That's scary. Why? Because they're written down. You can't change your mind. You're committed to something. She said, are you going to be effective? Are you going to be successful? Are you going to be a professional? Because you see, your ability to be successful is in direct proportion to your ability to set commitments with yourself and honor them. And she took out a $100 bill, which she always kept in her wallet because she said, this $100 bill is my security. As long as I have a $100 bill on me, I can't force my product on anyone else. I can only look at it with their best interest at heart. But it's my security. Because you see, Niki, at one time in my life, I was in the same situation you were. Except they repossessed my car, and the bank took the house back, and I had 7 children to support as head of household. And I sat down and I set goals. Without them, we won't get anywhere. Some of you, I think, have decided to fall in love, haven't you? If you were looking at that person, if you were saying something that was of any interest to them, if they were really listening to you, here's what happened. The pupils of their eyes dilated. Did any of you notice that? Pupils of their eyes got larger. Couldn't see his eyes. You're one of the ones who was out till 4 o'clock this morning. That's probably why. If the pupils of their eyes dilated, that means that they were physically attracted to you. Now, this is very important. Some of you are looking a little bit nervous over here. The point is this, that when we're out there and we're making the calls and when we're face to face with someone, we can look someone in the eye, they can look us in the eye, and we can tell if they're excited or not. We can tell if they want to hear more about what we have to say. We can tell if they're really listening to us, and they can tell if we're listening to them. Face to face, you see. And really, that's the only way we can write business, isn't it? You can't tell a blessed thing about whether they're excited, whether they're interested, whether they want to hear more, whether they're going to sign on the bottom line and give you a check when you're on the phone. We know this. It's not anything new. As a matter of fact, as salespeople, probably one of our best sources of energy is going out and visiting people and talking to them and listening. But I used to sit down at my desk and I'd pick up these lead cards because, like you, we received a batch of lead cards, and some of them were A's and some of them were B's and some of them were C's, and they were clearly marked out. And I mean, anyone could have done this. But I would pick up the C's first. Please don't ask me why. Because, of course, they were the coldest and the oldest. Does this sound familiar for any of you? And I'd pick up these lead cards, and I'd sit there and I'd shuffle them. And finally, I'd lay them, so help me, I would fan them out on top of the desk. And I would go, all right, I'm going to pick one. On your mark. Get this true story. Get set. Go. And I'd reach in and I'd pick one and I'd look at this card and kind of hold it up to my forehead and say, I hope, I hope, I hope nobody's home. Now, you need to know that that does not make for success, is because money gives you independence. And there is no profession in the world where you can have the freedom and the flexibility and the satisfaction that you can in sales. Every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must outrun the fastest lion or it will be killed. Every morning a lion wakes up. It knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle or it's going to starve to death. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a lion or gazelle. When the sun comes up, you'd better be running. And in banking today, it doesn't matter whether you are the larger bank or the smaller bank, the community bank, the independent bank, part of a holding company, regardless of who and what you do and the system that you're involved in. What today is really all about is about outrunning the competition, working with the challenges you have, moving faster, moving smarter, being ever more effective. It gets tougher every single day.
Niki spends time with both participants and meeting planners finding out specifically what the goals of your meeting are. Through the questions she asks in the pre-programmed questionnaire, to the time she spends assessing your needs on the telephone or face-to-face, she gets to know your challenges today. Her goal? Helping companies and individuals develop and implement strategies for change.
Most Americans say that service in this country is going downhill. And it's interesting, I sometimes encounter people, I'm not that way now, but I used to be then, that say, wouldn't this be a great job if it weren't for the customer? And as I like to say, the pursuit of mediocrity is always easy, isn't it? But the pursuit of excellence is a lot more difficult. The pursuit of mediocrity, if that's what we're pursuing, we'll always be successful at, but what can we do to be a little bit better in a competitive marketplace? Because it doesn't take much to really make a difference. Knowing how to win and keep customers is the single most important business skill that we can each develop. If that person makes us feel good, if that person increases our self-confidence and self-esteem and shows us appreciation, guess what we're going to do to the customer? Write this down now so that he can start complimenting you, Steve. We are going to make the customer feel just as good as we ourselves are made to feel by management. Know thy customer. Who are they? What do they want? And why do they want it from us?
Dynamic and entertaining, participants and meeting planners agree that Niki delivers. Her customized programs focus on leadership, sales and service strategies, teamwork, and the challenge of change.
We came back now about a month later, and what we had discovered is that this bank had sat down and they had developed policies, they had developed visionary thinking, they had developed strategies. They had developed teams that were committed to making all of this work. They didn't wait. They got started. Because you see, we're going to have to recognize that if this is going to work, we've got to have vision. We've got to implement the process. And it must come from the very top. I think one of the major benefits of total quality, because you see, we have to measure, it is a process, it is a system, is first of all that it makes people feel good, they do a better job, it reduces turnover, it raises morale. Why? Pride of ownership. What total quality can do for us is bring in more earnings, straight to the bottom line, or the top line, depending on your point of view. What total quality can do for us is help our customer be a lot more loyal. And what total quality can do for us is retain the customers we have, so that we're not constantly going out acquiring new ones. Service beyond expectation, because a recent Fortune magazine, right on the very front cover, said customers are tougher than ever. Because very often the reason why it didn't succeed is we did not have the commitment to it, we didn't benchmark, we didn't really take a look at the processes of how other people were doing it and see how we could adapt that to our own working environment.
Niki is the producer of the nationally syndicated PBS program McCuistion, hosted by her husband and partner, Dennis McCuistion. Her experience lends itself to facilitating panels or as master of ceremonies for your entire meeting. And for added benefit, she and Dennis often share the platform to the learning enjoyment of participants. And Niki's impact on your group doesn't end when participants leave the room. Her expertise on the platform is backed by a well-thought-out system of learning aids that continue the participants' learning process long after the speech is over. From audio cassette and video systems to content-driven books on selling, quality, teamwork, and change, they help participants to continue remembering and using what they have learned. For more information on Niki's presentations or for a fully customized program, contact the name on this video.
I think that I got most from Niki's presentation, and what I think that I could use most is to have the same attitude that she did.
It just caused me to think more of what I can do to assist that customer.
You get excited, you can't help but not. I think that's unique, that they can draw out of a crowd, get them to relax and like do the role playing that we've done this evening and have fun, and yet they go away feeling like I've accomplished something, I've learned something, and I can apply it.